Hi, Andrea. It's so good to see you today and to have you on my podcast. I was so blessed to meet you in Tampa at Hack Your Health. It was my very first time, and I got to meet you I think the first or second day, maybe. And I did not realize how much we have in common and how we're down this wellness path together. So I would love for you to tell us who you are, what you do, and what brought you into wellness and into this space.
Sure. Christina, it was really great to meet you too. I think it was on the second day, which was, that day was like full of magical people that we bumped into and got to meet and just, so I'm really thankful that I got to meet you then. But yeah, my name is Andrea and I have been on a healing journey. Oh, it's still in continuation, but I started towards the end of 2022. My health really took a dive and I didn't know why. And I tried everything. And by everything, I mean, I went on the crash diets. I, tried keto, but it wasn't the right keto because I was still buying like packaged stuff. I worked out all the time, like drink more water, work out more, eat less, all the things. I tried all of that. But one of the biggest things that I found at the end of 2022 was I actually signed up to work with a health coach because the doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. I just kept gaining weight. I felt like crap. I wasn't sleeping. And overall, it just wasn't good. And I knew that if I didn't do something different, drastically different, it was just not going to be a good path forward. So I signed up with a health coach and it's really crazy. I was having this conversation yesterday. One of the questions on her intake form was, have you had any dental work in the past few years? What does that matter? Really? Yes, I have. I had 2 root canals back in mid 2020. And I started putting things together. Mid 2020, 3 months after that, my skin started reacting differently to something. I've never had skin problems in my life and couldn't figure that out. That's when the weight gain started. I don't know what is going on. I chalked it up to stress because, 2020. I'll leave it at that. So that's just kind of what I thought it was. And I went through that until the end of 2022. I went from doctor to doctor, like, oh, you're fine. It's just your hormones. Oh, here, have some antibiotics. That'll clear it right up. We don't really know what's wrong, but we're going to give you some antibiotics anyway. Oh, gosh, those antibiotics didn't work. Here, have some prednisone for 28 days. That was really, really a tough year. 21 into 2022, really tough. Fast forward, I signed up with the health coach and I followed her protocol, like, to a T. What was her protocol? It was removing grains, gluten, and processed foods. Like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And she also said, go see a holistic dentist. So I did. That was the kicker there. I went to the holistic dentist and turns out the root canals that I had done in 2020 were infected. Huh? I know your reaction. It's pretty, you would never know because, right, they go in and kill the tooth or it's no longer something that you can feel, but they leave it in your body anyway. And that is the cause of my skin problem and the weight gain and just the overall decline in health. But I found that out. I still continued with that protocol from the health coach because I started to feel better. Even before I had the root canals removed, I was like, man, okay, I'm starting to sleep better now. Let me just keep going with this. And it was eating more protein, very specific, eat more protein, healthy fats. Like, you don't really need to track anything. Just make sure you're prioritizing the protein and the healthy fats. And I remember the day that it clicked. I was like, I can't believe how good I feel. I feel like I've nourished myself. I have not been feeding myself my entire life. It wasn't just like for the past few years, it was my entire life. So I kept on with that. Ended up having those root canals removed. And I say this is like, it's not really food related, but it is health related. As soon as I had those root canals out, it was an instant relief for my skin. Instant. It's crazy. I was like, you have got to be kidding me right now. It's like, pay to put them in, pay to take them out. But it allowed me to feel even better and really like go deep within how I am feeling about my body, what's going on. I'm able to recognize more about, am I full when I'm eating something? Do I need to stop eating? How am I sleeping? How's my brain working? So that's kind of like a little bit of a nutshell of how I got started. But as I continued down this path, I started reading. And, you start reading some of these books and it just takes you way down the rabbit hole. It's like, I think one of them was Primal Fat Burner or Primal something about fat. Like, gosh, that's crazy. Okay. Let me read this one. And then that led into the book by Sally Norton, Toxic Superfoods. I'm like, wait a minute. So things started kind of clicking together. And I remember when I was kind of in the middle of everything, I was losing a bunch of weight. I was feeling really good. And I was talking to my cousin about Sally Norton's book and removing, most of the vegetables that I was eating because they were high in oxalates. So, like, gosh, that makes so much sense. And I was talking to him about it. And he's like, you should try carnivore. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, carnivore. Just eat meat. No way. That's insane. That's crazy. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. Why would anybody do that? And it's funny, it just so happens that he and Sean Baker were in the same platoon together, or they were in the same unit in the military. So he's like, yeah, go follow Sean Baker. I'm like, whatever. Okay. So I ended up following Sean Baker and I'm like, I kept reading that book and I saw what Sean Baker was doing. And then I started seeing all these other people that were following a carnivore diet. I wasn't 100% convinced because, gosh, our entire life we're brainwashed to think that one way of eating is the only way. And it's the only way to make sure you're getting all the nutrients that you need and to be healthy. Of course, you look around now and you're like, clearly that's not the case. But so I started following him and others that were on a carnivore diet. I think what I did is didn't quite believe it, so I dabbled in it, we'll say. I started removing more of the plant-based foods, mostly, spinach was gone, kale gone. The hardest one to get rid of was the sweet potatoes. But yes. As I started to remove these items, if I'm like, oh, it'll be all right, I'll just, have it one time, it'll be fine. I felt it. And I felt it deep in my joints where my body would just start to ache, like as if I had a fever. So it was a deep ache and it would last for like 2 weeks. So uncomfortable. Like, I can't do this again. Then I do it again just to make sure I wasn't like crazy. But I definitely wasn't crazy because I experimented on myself. And when I found that eating vegetables, not so much fruit at that time, I just didn't feel great anymore. So it was almost as if my body was like, hey, ding, 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 we don't need that stuff. So I know I said I dabbled in it. And I did. I dabbled up until August last year. I decided to go like strict carnivore. I did it for January 2025, like strict for 30 days, and I noticed a huge difference. But after that, I dabbled. I still dabbled. But August, I'm like, you know what? I'm convinced. I'm going to do this. And it was just insane, the positive benefits of it. So that's kind of,
Well, I was gonna ask you, what did it feel like when you were dabbling, and kinda what were you dabbling with? And then did you notice that when you stopped dabbling, like, things kinda, like, just streamlined and got better? I was curious.
yeah. So for the month of January that I was strict, I felt really great. Sleeping good. Like I could literally feel the inflammation going away. And of course, I take before and after pictures because I can look in the mirror and see one thing, but it's not what it actually is, if that makes sense. So I do take before and after pictures. And I remember I had two that were like 2 weeks apart, or maybe it was 3 days apart even. And I saw the inflammation was very different. So the dabbling really consisted of avocados, I love frozen cherries, cocoa nibs, apples, and blueberries. That was like it. That was my dabbling. I stopped with all of the vegetables, or if you want to call it, I don't know if you call it sweet potato a fruit, but
It's a
I stopped it.
starch. It's a carb.
Yeah. Well, I stopped with that. And I was just like I said, cherries, cocoa nibs, avocados. The avocados started making me ill, which was strange because I never had problems before with avocados. So I was like, okay, can't eat that anymore. So I, just kept with the cherries and the cocoa nibs. Sometimes I would put some honey over that with it sounds weird, ground beef. It's like a little treat. It was so good. Yeah. It was delicious. But it also it keeps that, like, sugar addiction going with any kind of sweets. I didn't really lose much more weight during those months, but I can't really say it's the weight, it's more like the inflammation because my weight has gone down, but it's more of like my clothes are loose. The weight's still about the same, but everything's kind of just shrinking. But
Body composition. Yeah.
yeah. So, I just in January I was like, "Oh, this is awesome, but I don't think I'm not going to sustain this. I don't think so." Um, I just decided in August that I was going to. I'm like, I am putting my mind to this. I can do this. I'm going to feel great, and I'm going to make a lot of people upset. So I kind of I haven't looked back. I can't tell you the last time I had some kind of like fruit or vegetable. I've had chocolate and I have coffee, but that's like it. That is it. Other than that, it's meat, fish. I stopped eating eggs. So that's really it. And I feel I feel better now in my 40s than I have in my entire life, which is crazy to me. And I hear a lot of people that have experienced that. It's like, what was I doing the past 44 years? Well, we'll say 42 years because I've been doing this for a few years now. But yeah, so just going through this is what led me to want to be a health coach because I see so many people, you can see it and they're struggling. You don't want to go out and call them out, but you can see it. It's like, I can help you. I just want to help people. That's why I went ahead and got my certification. That's my goal is to help as many people as I can.
That is so beautiful. I love that so much. So we have so much in common. So I hired a
Love it.
coach in 2019 to
Mhm.
deal with my relationship with food and my body and exercise. And
Yeah.
I dealt with that for 33 years. And so I actually started carnivore when I was 49. And
Really?
I'm celebrating my 3-year carniversary on April 14th this year. I'm very excited.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Maybe we'll see. I love burgers. They're like my favorite
Oh,
thing, but
well, you
we'll
can do a
see.
burger cake. Just put a candle on it or
Yeah,
3.
3 candles on it, right? I actually did the lion diet for all of January. So I did it for 30 days, and then I did Kelly Hogan's carnivore ice cream, got really sick. So the inflammation came
Ugh,
right back. Then I did from February 1st all the way until 2 days ago. And I went ahead and I was going to reintroduce slow and be like, okay, I'll do butter for 3 days, wait a day, do coffee for 3 days, wait a day, and then do egg yolks. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go back and see what happens. And it's going really well. My body responded so well to going back on egg yolks and butter and coffee that like it's amazing. So I'm like so excited. I had to branch out. Like I wasn't seeing the benefits and I wasn't noticing anything major happening. So I was like, okay, 2.5 months, we're going to call it. And then maybe next year I'll do a whole year. We'll see. Cause I have histamine intolerance.
okay.
That's why you saw me eating my burgers that I brought from home that I
Oh,
cooked
yeah.
when I was at Hack Your Health. But I did eat at Dr. Kilt's dinner at the Brazilian restaurant. I
Yeah,
had picanha and I did not get sick. And I had
that's
salmon
good.
and I did not get sick. Some other people got sick, but I did not get sick. So it was awesome.
I had tried lamb for the first time at that dinner. I was like, "Oh, oh my, it's delicious." But I get I'm gonna bring my own food pretty much wherever I go. I understand that because it's safe and you know your body. It it's really hard to go back to feeling like crap.
Yeah.
It is really hard. But I like what you said that you tried to remove stuff, but you didn't really notice a difference, so you went back to it. That's something I've done. And I think that once you do start to remove items, it makes it easier to notice any negative side effects because your way of eating is so tuned in that one little thing you're like, "Oh, I can't have that. I tried it, but I can't have that." Okay, moving on. So I think it's really, really neat that in this lifestyle, it's something you can do.
Yeah. I can't actually eat like chicken or turkey or any of that stuff. So I'll tell you later about something I'm going to do in June. So do you know a little bit of fit, Katie Kelly? You have to look her up. She's amazing. So now she's not little bit of fit anymore. She's called Katie. I think it's Katie Kelly, I think is what she changed it to, 'cause yeah, she's adorable and she is
No.
yeah, she is I'll look it up. I'll send you a link. She says the coolest things about, like, health. She's a coach too. I think she's a nutritionist, and
Okay.
so she is a nutritionist, but she's other things. She's a coach. So she has a great philosophy about cut that crap out if it's not serving you. Like cut it out. If it's not bringing you joy, cut it out. She has been giving me all kinds of ideas because I'm working with her right now because
Uh-huh.
I just like her attitude. So she just said, cut that crap out. All the things that don't serve you, cut it out and only look for things that are fun, that you enjoy, and that give you joy. And she's like, when you do that, you're going to, do all kinds of other things to heal your body. And she
Mm.
said, don't say I have histamine intolerance and I can't eat all this food. I was like, duh, I know this stuff. Why am I saying that? But let me just ask you. So you and I are not that far off in age, and we've been told our entire lives to eat less and move more. We've also been told that the 1,200 calorie diet is for all women of all height, all weight, all size, all fitness activity, everything. Isn't that insane? And we've also been told that cardio is king and we should do tons of jumping around and running and not much about strength training because I think women are afraid they're going to magically like bulk up, which is actually really hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So, could you tell me your take on all of that? And I'll ask you the next question in a minute.
So I'll go ahead and say, to answer your questions, do the opposite. I used to work out every single day and I followed the eat less, move more philosophy. It's absolute baloney. Baloney. We feed your body what it needs. You don't need to move more. You can actually move less. And it's preferred because it keeps your cortisol levels level. I think it's just a bunch of baloney. I think it's all propaganda. Market, buy this, buy that, look like this, look like that. It's just ridiculous. But I know now, I didn't know then, right? And I think that's another reason that it's important for those that are in this space to relay that message because it's still being pushed. So, yeah, but I definitely do not work out the way I used to. I
Mm.
walk most days. Every now and again, depends on how I feel. I'll go lift some weights. That's about it. Might get my sauna blanket also just to get a little sweat on, but that's pretty much all I do.
Wouldn't you agree that the more you do, the more you have to do? And then your body and your nervous system are like, whoa, we're not doing that anymore. And they can actually cause you to like stop everything that's going well for you. It stops because the body has a protective mechanism. Could you talk about nervous system and could you talk about cortisol and how these affect women in our age group and why that's important?
Yeah. So if your nervous system is not regulated, your body's going to react. If you're constantly, we'll just say chronic cardio, if you're constantly working out, constantly running, pumping, not relaxing, your body is not going to be safe. You're going to end up hurting yourself. You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to be in a constant state of stress, just constant. Over time, you're going to start gaining more weight. You're going to start feeling like crud again. So it's really important to know that part that it's less is actually more. Less is more.
I like to tell women, look, all that crazy you got going on over there, you got to keep doing that crazy. So if you're 30 and you're killing yourself in the gym and you're pinning down your calories and like literally hardly eating anything, you got to keep that crazy up. And then your body just outsmarts you and upregulates your weight set point and makes everything harder. And then you got to go at it at a different angle and try to trick the body, which is just a waste of time. For anybody under 40, do that. It's a waste of
Do
time.
it. It is.
Yeah.
There's
So
an
do you
easier way out there.
yeah. Yeah. So do you think that I know a lot of women when they come to carnivore, they want to lose weight. That's all they care about. But have you found that if they actually let themselves eat, then they gain a little bit, they satiate themselves and they get to a point where they can just eat normal and they don't have that noise in their head that's always telling them about food and they will lose the weight, but it's a side effect of nourishing their body and taking care of themselves.
Yes. 100%. You will gain some weight back because you're not regulated. You're not properly fueled or nourished. So it can take years. You have to think about your past. Most of us, and some still are, have been eating the standard American diet, which is not nourishing at all. We've essentially been starving ourselves our whole life. And that's not something that's easily corrected. It's not a quick fix. There is no such thing as a quick fix if you want sustainable. You have to create the lifestyle and you've got to have the discipline for that. There's that D word, the discipline word, right? But it's important to understand that you are going to have some ups and downs at first, but once you're properly nourishing your body, it can then just relax, regulate, and that's when the health starts showing up. And that's when the weight loss occurs. It's a natural thing. When the health is there, the weight loss occurs. It's like a side effect.
It is a side effect. It's magic. So what about okay, I have so many things. Okay, so I was coaching a client recently and we were talking about we've been told to control our bodies
Mm,
for like years. You need to control your body. You need to, like you need to control it and take care of it and make it do things. And I always like to say your body already knew how to like make you think, make your brain work, make your heart beat, make your lungs breathe for you. It sends the blood out. It brings the blood back. So, like, there's all these mechanisms and things in place. I'm a Christian, so I believe that God intelligently designed us and our bodies knew what to do. They came with orders, they knew what to do. And then we were brainwashed and programmed to believe that we should control our weight, which craziness looking at it from the outside, but like control our weight, control our body, do all these crazy things in the name of health. And it's really not helping the body. So when you said discipline, so this is what happened. I was talking to a client and we were like trying to talk about, I was trying to get them to shift their perspective from being stuck to being full of possibilities, right? And so I was like, instead of control, wow, we don't have to control everything. What if it was discipline over willpower, over motivation, over control? Discipline is a beautiful thing. It's a choice, and we can
mm,
work on that and be consistent.
mhm. Yep. And, there you're gonna have days that it's gonna be really, really hard. You can be 3 years into it, and you're still gonna have days that are really, really hard. But the discipline comes into that because you know how you're gonna feel if that really hard thing that's over here gets on your plate or in your mouth. You're going to know that you're going to feel bad again. And it might be for a day, it might be two, it might be 2 weeks, but is it worth it? Is it worth going back to that? Is it worth being puffy, inflamed, hot, feeling just discombobulated? That's a good word for how that can feel. Like it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I talked to Kelly Hogan. I interviewed her on my podcast recently, and we were talking about how this just blew my mind when she said this stuff to me. I was like, wow.
That's sweet.
She said that, and I'm kind of going off topic of what you just said, but you made me think of this. So she said that the first year she did carnivore, she lost 80 pounds. Okay. And she said that it stopped completely for 2 years. And she said something to me that completely blew my mind. She said, it's like my body was recalibrating and she lost all of her loose skin disappeared in that 2 years. So she didn't lose any weight on the scale visually, but she actually had her body recomposition itself by continuing to eat. I know what I was going to say too. And by continuing to eat that way, even though it wasn't showing her results, because we are like instant gratification. We want it now. We want to see it or else it's not working. And so
Mhm.
she said that when she left her doctor, because I was like, your doctor said, here's the front, eat these foods. Here's the back. Don't eat these foods. And I said, so did you go home and think about it? Did you like try things? Did you wait a week? She said, no. Whatever I ate that morning was the last carbs I ever had. She said, and this blew my mind because we all kind of go back sometimes and dabble, like with the sweet potatoes, we dabble. And then we're like, shoot, what did I do that for? Oh. When she said that, I was like, oh, so this is what she told me. She goes, if you do it, you only do it one time. So you literally, the day you quit, you just turn and you don't go back. And she
Mhm.
never ever went back. Now she did artificial sweeteners and, soda, and she did sugar-free jello. So,
Mhm.
but she changed her whole life and then changed all of our lives by putting it out there and by sharing her story. So, you sharing your story and how, you're coaching other women because you couldn't keep it to yourself.
Right.
You found the answer. And then now you're like, I got to tell every woman that will listen to me, that hears my message, that sees my Instagram, that sees my YouTube, that sees my interviews. I'm going to share my expertise because you tell us where you were. I know people are triggered by numbers. So if you're triggered by numbers, don't watch this part. Could you tell us where you started with your weight and then where you are now? And
Depends
how long
on
did it take?
So it depends on what time frame you're asking,
Mhm.
because I have struggled with my weight from what I remember and can see in photos, 6th grade. I started becoming heavy in 6th grade.
So you were you
And
12?
yeah, I think so.
Started having that issue. Yeah. Okay.
And, like, I have a picture of me for my 6th grade graduation. I'm like, "Whoa, my." And I know I was like that because I felt it, you know? It's not a good feeling. I didn't feel good. My clothes didn't fit. I had, like, big clothes. But I remember, like, going through into middle school, going into high school. Gosh, yeah, I'll just get into it. High school, I think, was my worst that I recall. I know that I struggled with buying clothes because I was so heavy. I weighed around 256, and it's really funny that I'm talking about this now. I wore a size 38 men jeans. First of all, I had to get the length because I'm tall, and I've been tall like since I stopped growing, whatever. I'm almost 6 foot. So I'd go to the men's section and buy the men's jeans so I can get the long inseam. It was a size 38 in the waist. That equates to a woman's size of like 20 or 22. I was in the store the other day just for like reference because I couldn't believe what I was doing. I took a pair of size 22 shorts and put it next to me, and it was like there was like that much space. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So, long story short, my heaviest weight, 256. I was able to bring it down to about 170, 180 in my early 20s, but it just crept up and crept up and crept up. So I maintained, I would say, from 30s till 2 years ago. I have to go back and look. I think it was about 2 years ago. Between 180 and 190, 198, somewhere around there. And with the diets that I did, up and down, up and down. Never ever got to my goal, which was always 170. I don't know why that number, but my goal was always 170. As soon as I started my little health journey, it has been a gradual down, but the largest or the most like decrease was when I started. I'm down to 161 now, and it has just gone down, never back up. My clothes don't even like, I gotta go buy new clothes. Who wants to do that? My stretchy clothes are too big. So it's really, it's powerful. It's really powerful, especially for those that have struggled.
Did you notice that your body composition changed? Because when I met you, you're like tall, beautiful. I didn't notice any symptoms because, some people you can
Well,
notice they have like loose skin and all of that. So, how did that go? And did you notice a change in that?
so actually recently I've noticed the biggest change in the skin. And I think it's because the inflammation is coming off really fast. So I kind of like that you mentioned, because I haven't listened to your podcast with Kelly yet, but I like that you mentioned it on here because I'm like, what is going on? Like my skin is kind of like sagging a little bit and I don't know what it's from and it's recent. But I know that I've changed a few things recently. So I just think I see more of my abs popping through. My waist is getting smaller, but I also like in my arms, I've got like more skin. I'm like, what am I going to do about this? But patience, right?
Yes.
Patience. Because this is a process. There is no quick, ladies, there's no quick fix.
Exactly. So, could you tell us what the body actually needs in midlife for energy, hormones, and metabolic health?
Well, I think that you don't need vegetables. That's one thing. You don't need more fiber, okay? I think it's really dependent on your body. And what you need. And it's not always something that you're going to have to do a trial and error. So, like, when I started, I did a lot of fat and I was in a lot of metabolic distress when I first started. I think that as long as you're prioritizing protein and healthy fats as your main source of fuel, you might have to tweak it a little bit as you move through the process because every day could be different. I'm not going to say it is different, but it could be different. So prioritize the protein, prioritize the healthy fats. It just depends on where you start in your journey of what your body needs. So I can use myself as an example. Like I said a minute ago, I started high fat and I started to notice negative side effects, I guess we'll say. Like had stomach discomfort, my skin started drying out. I was like, gosh, what is going on? So, I tweaked that part and I'm a couple of months into that now and feeling much better. But in the past few weeks, I've upped my protein, lowered my fat a little bit, and I can see a difference in that too. So it's really important to be able to pay attention to yourself and what your body's asking for. I don't think that there's one number for anyone to follow. It's going to be specific to each individual. And that's my
Yeah.
take.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you if you're a proponent for high fat. So I know a lot of people that when they're trying to heal, it's a really good idea to have your fat higher. And the digestive thing, I always tell my clients, and I have a Facebook group that's full of women that are either trying carnivore or getting back on carnivore. And I tell them, don't eat rendered fat. For sure,
Yeah.
don't eat rendered fat. It runs straight through you, most people. And then I tell them to eat cold fat. And they're like, why? And I was like, because we really need it cold because then it doesn't digestively upset or cause chaos. And I tell them, tallow, butter, ghee, these are good things to work with, especially if they are dealing with a lot of health issues,
Mhm.
just a lot. And I talked to them about dabbling and other things and how ketosis is a magical healing process. It's not for everybody, but it's a
Yeah.
really good base when you're trying to get rid of inflammation. So, what do you think about that?
I agree with that. It's once you hit it, you're like, whoa, what just happened? It's like becoming a superhuman almost. But I agree when you're just starting a journey, if you have a lot of health issues, most health issues are stemmed in the gut, right? So having high fat will help. And like you said, the rendered fat is going to go right through you.
Yeah, it's a oops. And some people don't even know it. They don't even know
Hmm.
it. So,
Like, oh, mm, bathroom better be nearby. But the cold fats are going to absorb better into your system, so you get those nutrients the way that you need them, and it's just going to help the healing process that much better. Oh, yeah.
oh, some women say carnivore is not working for me. What are the first things that you think they should look at before assuming it's her age or that it's just not going to work for her?
What else are you eating? Is it carnivore? Or are you
Hmm.
dabbling? If they're not, it could be a food sensitivity.
So true.
Maybe maybe they're eating a lot of eggs.
Egg
Maybe they.
whites carbs in them. I mean, they don't realize like it could add up. If you just ate eggs all day and you're sensitive to things and you've got histamine or you've got like a lot of health issues, egg whites are high in histamine.
Mhm. And
I avoid
usually,
them.
most people have a problem with them, and they don't know it
Hmm.
until one day they cut all the other crap, and then they eat an egg, and you're like, "I think I should not eat those anymore."
I eat egg yolks and I like them like runny. So the way to do that is to get boiling water and move it off the burner, put them in there with like a spoon, ease them down in there, cook them for 6 minutes and have an ice bath and
Mm,
pull them off, the heat and then pull them in the ice bath. So then when you take them apart, the egg's runny, but it's contained. And so I can
mhm.
drop that on my burgers. I give the whites to the dogs because they don't mind and they don't have histamine. And then I get like 2 egg yolks, maybe 3 egg yolks on a burger. So good.
That's a good idea because it takes the whites off when you do it that way.
Separate it. So I have one of those little separators.
Doesn't
So
get it
much
all.
work. It's so much work. And then
That's a
you're like, you still got
idea.
some egg white in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done because I just have them raw, like the egg
Yeah.
yolk
I've
raw,
done that too. Yeah.
but it's really hard to get all the white off. As soon as I get the white in my mouth, like, my mouth starts to itch.
Yeah, I don't have that, but yeah, it's not good.
That's a good
There's your
idea.
magic way, and if you don't want them
Yay!
runny,
I'm gonna
but you like
try
them
that.
runny, so 6 minutes, and then the reason you put them in ice water is it stops them from cooking.
Mhm. That
And
makes
so
sense.
then I just will either stick them in the fridge in the ice bath or I'll drain them and stick them in the fridge. But I make like 14 to like 20 at a time. So I'm like stocked and I can just like take care of it. My dogs know mom's got eggs. She's going to give me some white. So they just come behind me and they're like, all right. So, okay.
I hear you
What is,
cracking.
yeah, they hear me and I'm trying to be quiet. I've even gone outside and done it. And they're like, mom's got eggs. But so let me ask you this. What's one thing that you wish you knew before you started this journey?
Patience, that there's no such thing as a quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick weight loss journey.
Yeah, so true. Okay.
Because everybody's looking for the quick, like, "Oh, I gotta lose weight. I wanna have, in 15 days, I wanna lose 10 pounds." It's not sustainable. It's gonna
And
come
we
back
know that's not
times
real
2.
fat. It's like water weight that comes right back. So I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm not gonna name any names, but I have seen several people do 30-day fast, 40-day fast, even like 2 weeks. Okay. The minute they go back on food, it does not matter. It's carnivore only. They start swelling up because their body's like, oh, look, she's giving me nutrients. He's giving me food. It just like, starts like swelling back up and they gain weight and they're like, oh, I didn't want to gain weight. Well, it happens.
Yeah, you're starving your body. It's gonna react.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe they healed a lot of things. Maybe they got rid of rogue cells and they cleaned out a bunch of viruses. Autophagy happens on carnivore, not when you're dabbling in like sourdough and honey and apples and sweet potatoes and all of that and candy. Like now you have chocolate. So is it dark chocolate or you just eat chocolate?
It's usually dark, or it depends on what I find, because I don't eat it often, and I
Hmm.
do wanna make sure it's good quality,
Hmm.
especially, like, most chocolates have soy in them, and I'm like, I read every single label. I go to my friends, my parents, family, I open the fridge, I'm like, "Why is this in here? Do
Yeah,
you
you
know what
can't do
this
that.
does?"
I know. I do that all the time. People are like, oh, here she comes.
"Here she comes. Shut up, Andrea." It's like, "What?
They're
I
like,
care
oh, I
about
wish she'd
you."
stop talking to me.
Or yeah, but so if I do get chocolate, it's like usually it's a Hue bar and it's the dark 70%, which I know the darker one has more oxalates in it, but it's the only one I can find that's salted. Or I'll buy the
Yeah, I
milk
stay away from
chocolate.
the like, for me, it's like, just even the sweet taste might take me back, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't wanna go back."
So I have to, if I'm gonna do that, it's usually, I mean, we're all healing from food addictions, right? I know what will happen now. So it's like when you know better, you can do better. But if you
Mm.
know, you know. So if I'm gonna have whatever that I shouldn't have, I know I'm gonna feel a certain way for an extended amount of time. Now, a little bit of chocolate here and there, I don't feel the effect of it. So I do tend to keep it like in the freezer. So it's harder to, I
Yeah,
can't
it's
get
hard
it.
to
So, but it's usually dark chocolate that's got the salt in it, or I'll get the milk chocolate and just like coat it in salt and pop it in my mouth. And then, it goes back in the freezer and I'm good to go.
Have you tried
But that,
tallow? Like, turning tallow into, like, tallow bites with lots of salt in it? Not cooking it. I don't do that thing where they, like, do that thing. I just take it and stick it in the freezer in, like, these little things, and then if I wanna eat something, I go eat one of those. Not all the time.
I don't like tallow taste. I love tallow on my
You
skin.
should try Wagyu tallow. Have you tried Wagyu tallow?
Yes.
My
Well,
gosh, you
no,
have?
I take it back. I've tried it on my skin. Make my own product. So I have tubs of it in my kitchen. I just do not like how it tastes.
I don't buy that one. Do you mean the big black one that comes from
Yeah.
Amazon? I
Yeah.
don't use that one. Yeah. I buy, regenerative farmed Wagyu tallow.
Mm.
It's got almost a nutty taste to it. It's really good.
It
And
tastes like tallow.
I mean, overall, I won't put it in my coffee because I just can't do that.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's terrible. But I put butter in my coffee. But I quit coffee because I couldn't put butter in it. So I was like, we're not going to do that. But so this tallow just tastes really good to me, but I salt it. So I've got the salt. We went to Hack Your Health. So we met Amy and we met, yes. So I don't do salter. I do salty provisions and the
Oh,
flaky
yeah,
sea salt.
same.
So good. Okay. So what's one tip that you would give women who are starting or restarting carnivore and they actually want to stick to it?
Ease into it. Just slowly go through the process, start removing things one by one, adding more healthy animal fats. Ease into it, because that's going to allow you to really create the habits to get into the lifestyle to sustain it. I don't think jumping in cold turkey is a great idea. First of all, you're going to have a lot of discomfort in your stomach, and that right there is just a deterrent. It's like, if I wanted to feel like crap, I'm just gonna keep eating what I want to, right? Just ease into it. That's what I would recommend.
That's a good idea. So where can women find you and learn more about your coaching?
Cool. So it's a long website, but it's brazen and bold wellness.com, all spelled out. And also on Instagram, it's brazen and bold wellness with periods in between each word.
So you're going to have to send me the links. I'm going to drop them in the show notes and
Okay.
everybody can come check you out. Is there
Awesome.
anything else they can do to reach out to you? Maybe send you a DM or what?
Yeah. Instagram is really where I'm at. I don't really do TikTok. I've tried, I can't do it. But my email address is on my website and also Instagram. So those are the best ways to get me.
Awesome. So thank you so much. I'm so glad I met you at Hack Your Health and I have pictures with you. I should send them to you. But we had a good time and I hope you get to come to Meet Stock because I want to catch up with you there. That's going to be super fun too.
Yeah, I agree. And also, hack your health again in November.
Yeah, I know. I know. I have to worry about that. Do you drive down or do you fly down?
I won't drive that far.
Mm, I
If
don't
I
want to
fly.
fly again. It was
Well,
a horrible
just
experience.
meet me where I'm at and we can ride together.
Boom. There you go.
Cool.
I got to get my
Yeah.
tickets though. Yeah. That would be a good idea. I would love to do that.
Okay, let's just plan it.
Yeah, because 'cause you're just 2 hours away. All right, well, we're gonna
Cool.
catch up later, but I can't
That's
wait for
good.
people to hear your story, and thank you so much for coming and sharing it.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure
You're
talking to you.
welcome.